hebben een kleine overlap met de eerste sessie. Dit wordt wat meer een deep dive die oorspronkelijk bedoeld was. Dat is wel even belangrijk om te weten, om onze bestaande klanten bij te praten over waar de portfolio van Pitney Bowes zich heen ontwikkelt en hoe wij daar onze waarde aan toevoegen. Maar ook een stukje hoe wij naar de markt kijken. Dat betekent dat een deel van de mensen misschien een aantal zaken dubbel ziet. Maar we vinden het wel belangrijk om ook deze informatie zo goed mogelijk met jullie te delen. Aangezien die niet allemaal meer bestaande klanten zijn, beseffen we dat sommige slides misschien wat technocratisch gaan overkomen. Maar goed, het is duidelijk wat de context was. We vinden het jammer dat we jullie niet persoonlijk kunnen ontmoeten. Hè. Wij zijn een bedrijf wat heel graag op hele persoonlijke titel samenwerkt. Maar we zitten op dit moment in hele andere tijden. Dus ik wil vooral eerst ook de wens uitspreken dat iedereen gezond en veilig is op dit moment. Aan de kant van Dialog Groep hebben we gelukkig nog steeds volledige inzetbaarheid en continuïteit. Daar doen we ook alles aan. Ons kantoor is ook al een aantal weken dicht. Het is dan ook niet onze stijl om zeg maar op een crisis als deze mee te liften. Maar ik wil wel gezegd hebben dat als er zaken zijn die wij kunnen doen in dit tijdperk. Denk aan chatoplossingen om overbelaste callcenters te ontlasten. Of video-oplossingen om mensen voor te lichten. Laat het ons dan vooral weten, want we zijn absoluut bereid om extra flexibel en in de tijdgeest daarbij op korte termijn te helpen. Dat gezegd hebbende, een iets andere slide als daarnet, omdat het uitgangspunt is dat iedereen in deze call ons al kent. Wij werken de laatste tijd ook vaak samen met analistenbureau Aspire. Hebben ook met toestemming deze slide onder andere gebruikt. En waar het eigenlijk hier om gaat, is dat wij hopen dat onze klanten allemaal op de grijze lijn zitten. Met andere woorden, zoals ik daar straks al zei, klantenloyaliteit wordt vooral tegenwoordig veroorzaakt door gebruiksgemak. Een lage customer effort nodig om zaken met je te doen. Dat betekent ook, dat is onderzocht, dat op het moment dat klanten echt aan de slag gaan met hun customer interaction, met hun klantervaring, dat ze significant meer waarde toevoegen en ook omzet gaan draaien dan klanten die de bouw business as usual doen op dit vlak. En het is natuurlijk onze ambitie om met onze klanten die grijze lijn door te maken. Ja. Hier een slide die we net ook al gezien hadden, waar eigenlijk nog een keer benadrukt wordt hoe belangrijk het bieden van een goede klantervaring is en hoe bedrijven massaal aan het investeren zijn, wat voor ons en Pitney Bowes natuurlijk goed nieuws is, in omnichannel communicaties. Zoals ik dus straks al zei, omnichannel betekent voor ons niet alleen dat je op alle relevante kanalen aanwezig bent, maar ook dat je over die kanalen heen een consistente ervaring kunt aanbieden, zodat systemen en data overal op gelijke wijze beschikbaar zijn. Nou, onze tagline is Digital Interaction Made Easy. Hè? Dus wij willen zorgen dat die digitale self-service die klanten willen, dat we die ook kunnen bieden op een kanaal en een moment naar keuze. Uiteraard heel erg persoonlijk. Klanten willen natuurlijk herkend worden. En ook niet gedwongen worden om van kanaal te switchen om weer iets anders te doen. Omdat toevallig de organisatie die de producten of diensten aanbiedt dat dicteert. De hele informatie moet niet alleen persoonlijk, maar natuurlijk ook relevant zijn. Bite-sized vaak ook. En klanten willen natuurlijk een veilige ervaring. Daar zetten bedrijven vaak tegenover een compliant ervaring. En wij denken dat zeg maar, wat klanten willen en wat bedrijven zoeken, dat we er steeds beter in slagen om dat door middel van slimme procesautomatisering, self-service, maar ook het in de kracht zetten van de business, die zelf klantinteracties kan ontwikkelen, om die combinatie goed te maken. En dus ook meer flexibiliteit te introduceren. Zoals net ook al gezegd, in de praktijk betekent, zijn er nog wel wat valkuilen. Heel veel bedrijven hebben complexe legacy IT-systemen. Zeker op het moment dat het wat grotere organisaties zijn die ook nog eens een keer fusies en dergelijke achter de rug hebben. De organisaties waar wij over het algemeen zaken mee doen zijn ook vaak wat complexer, zowel in proces als in de organisatie. En lang niet altijd is er de juiste data beschikbaar. Zoiets simpels als hebben we van al onze klanten een e-mailadres is niet een gegeven wat iedereen met ja kan beantwoorden. Nou, die mix, die cocktail zoals die hier gevisualiseerd, leidt dan vaak tot een slechte klantervaring. En we proberen daar samen met onze klanten natuurlijk stappen in te zetten. Het is ook belangrijk om dat te benadrukken, dat we dat samen doen. Dus onze visie is dat we een klantinteractielaag nodig hebben die tussen je legacy systemen en misschien zelfs de organisatie in staat. En die moet leiden tot een klantervaring die gewenst is. Waarbij we natuurlijk tegelijkertijd de doelstellingen van de bedrijven borgen. Nou, die slechte datakwaliteit, complexe IT, complexe organisatie, daar zijn allemaal oplossingen die wij voorstaan. Eén is natuurlijk de datakwaliteit, borging van data-integriteit. Daar zijn prachtige oplossingen voor, daar komen we straks ook nog op terug. Het automatiseren van workflows, maar ook van content, om ervoor te zorgen dat het voor de klant zo eenvoudig mogelijk wordt en die klant ook maar 1 keer zijn gegevens beschikbaar hoeft te stellen en ook door een logisch proces heen kan. En natuurlijk zijn op de kanalen waar je moet zijn. En zoals ik al zei, deze webinar is vooral gericht op onze bestaande klanten. Die zullen zien dat er ongelooflijk veel ontwikkelingen zijn. Ook aan de kant van Pitney Bowes, maar ook aan onze toegevoegde waarde. Om daar te komen waar we heen willen. En dat komt zo dadelijk ook uitgebreid aan bod. Dit is eigenlijk hetzelfde plaatje, maar dan meer vanuit de blik van analisten. Waar steeds meer wordt gezegd van hey, je wil niet meer dat al die line of businesses hun eigen mensen, processen en infrastructuur ontwikkelen. Nee, je wil die infrastructuur delen. Een van onze klanten noemt dat bijvoorbeeld een berichtencentrum. Je wil zoveel mogelijk kanaal en device agnostic, waarbij uiteraard mobile first steeds belangrijker wordt. Je wil business users de juiste tools in handen geven om snel, zonder daarbij hulp van IT nodig te hebben, nieuwe producten en diensten in de markt te kunnen zetten. En je wil natuurlijk veilig, compliant en wendbaar zijn. En dat doen wij door middel van wat we dan standaard Lego-blokken noemen. Dus dat is waar wij heen ontwikkelen. En ik geef daarna dan ook graag het woord aan eerst Kevin Rix, die in het algemeen gaat vertellen hoe de visie van Pitney Bowes aansluit en in synergie is met die van ons. En daarna met de 2 productmanagers van de belangrijkste productlijnen die relevant zijn voor onze klanten. Om wat concreter in te gaan op welke verbeteringen er nu al zichtbaar zijn en welke verbeteringen er gaan komen. Kevin.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Thanks for the nice introduction. Hello, everyone. As you've heard before, my name is Kevin Rix, Director of Product Management here at Pitney Bowes. I'm focused on the customer engagement solutions, all of our EngageOne solutions. Next slide, please. Our key innovation areas when it comes to what we're building, how we're introducing to market is really focused on 4 different areas of innovation. We focus on interactive video engagement, making sure that you're providing, that we're empowering our clients to provide an experience to their customers through interactive video as personalized as possible. And what that does is that allows you not only to communicate a message, but also to do some facilitation of self-service, self-navigation, and meeting the client in their mobile devices or in their mobile channels. Which leads to the second, which is mobile first customer engagement. So we're focused on mobile first customer engagement because customers, that's where they are requiring all of us to meet them. So all the brands that we work with and the brands that I even do business with, I want to take advantage of my mobile devices in order to engage with them and to execute the business. Intelligent self-service. It's not all about calling a call center and getting help from from for minutes and hours on any transaction that you want to make or any inquiry you have. It's how do you provide the intelligent way for customers to self-service, find the information that they need, and then jump off and talk to a live agent if they need to in order to complete that transaction or to get some clarification. And then augmenting physical with digital. As we migrate from a print-centric, print-dominated type of communication style in order to communicate information about what's being consumed and looking to improve engagement and the actual customer experience across the customer life cycle, we need to be able to use print and digital channels in a wise fashion and be able to use those as complementary channels when needed. Also being able to infuse digital with print when needed so that that engagement can take place. Next slide, please. So our platform is evolving, and this is you're going to see 3 slides. It's going to be, or a couple of slides that'll give you a build-up. So our platform is evolving. You know us today as an organization or as a product family that has many different components or parts that are loosely to tightly coupled depending upon their implementation and use. As we're going through our maturation, we're really homogenizing our products. We're really trying to pull everything into 2 platforms. Next slide, please. And those 2 platforms that we're looking to have all the products integrated into so that we could provide a complete end-to-end solution that takes advantage of both digital and physical engagement in a unified fashion, multi-channel / omni-channel engagement, is the EngageOne Compose platform for on-premise, for private cloud deployments. That's in the data centers that you manage through Amazon Web Services, Azure, could be Google, cloud type frameworks, as well as a managed hosted option that we will be having for customers, where we will do the deployment and oversight of the software on behind, in the data center that we have. EngageOne Communicate, which is our SaaS-based offering. So the plan that we have in our roadmap is to start pulling all of the other capabilities and adding them onto these platforms in a very cohesive way, so that you can execute your customer communication strategy through all of the channels in a very seamless, integrated fashion. Next slide, please. So key to any communication that's being designed and delivered is around data. So as we talk about data and we start doing the build up here, as we click the next build of this, information is critical, and it's critical because you want to be able to connect to data, and then you want to model that data. So you want to connect to it, you want to transform it so that you can build the models, and we have that connection through our Spectrum Data Management Framework. And that Spectrum Data Management Framework, as it's going through and touching the data, collecting the data, we're creating those models. Those data models are used when the communication design to drive personalization into the communications that are being delivered to your customers, so that as it's delivered to the customers, as we built this out from the EngageOne applications, those customers are able to interact, have those interactions within the channel that you deliver the communication to, and most likely through the devices that they use. And then if there's any sort of remediation or any sort of secondary touch point that's needed based upon the delivery, you can go back to that same data that you've already modeled and extract the context, extract the channel and the relevancy and the likes, and then push out a secondary communication that can go to those channels. And then lastly, taking advantage of this framework, you can update that data in real time based upon the experience that you're having with the customer, so that in future engagements, you can engage more appropriately. Next slide, please. So I'm going to introduce one of the product managers on my team, Paranita Chaudhry, and she's going to do a deeper dive on EngageOne Compose. Paranita.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Next slide, please. Right, this is just a disclaimer. So whenever we're talking about the roadmap, we want to make sure that the priorities might change with the changing business needs. Next slide, please. So our release themes haven't changed. They're mainly around the 4 areas, namely like the improvement of customer experience, meeting customers' requirements in their moment of need, and expanding the usability to make life easier for our users, like for our administrator user. And I'll talk more about it, the improvements we've made in SP10 release, now that we've modernized the way they can administer their Compose server application. Also, the business user productivity. So with the growing market needs, enabling the business users to get more control and power to be able to create those omni-channel communications, and also with the enterprise collaboration to be able to streamline the business operations and so on. And not only to be able to integrate within our EngageOne Suite, but also to be able to integrate with your external business system, so you have just one ecosystem to maintain. Modernization of core platform by keeping current with the market evolution and the evolving client business needs for the technology. And last but not the least, non-functional requirements like performance, scalability, security, and extensibility are the areas we give utmost attention to. Next slide, please. Right, so coming to the horizon. So 2017 was a time when we first introduced version 4.4. Based upon all the feedback, because it's so invaluable coming directly from you all, that you care about how we can add more value so you can keep current with our upcoming releases. So 4.4 was a time in 2017 when we introduced it, and it's been an iterative journey because you can stay up current on our latest service pack releases and then give us feedback, and you can make more improvements in there. And now we're in 2020, and SP10 being our latest and greatest release, I'll talk in detail about what's the advancements and the development improvements we've done in that regard. It's so exciting. I can't wait to talk more about it. And in 2021, we're going to go down the same route. Next slide, please. So looking at the roadmap overview, 9 is out, SP10, like I said, I'm going to talk more in detail. Let's talk about SP11 and SP12. So SP11, again, a lot of requests. It's all about, you told us that you want to have mobile first communications, but at the same time, you would want to leverage your existing investment in Compose and reuse your assets that are existing in Compose Designer repository, and we're going to make it happen for you. So I'm going to share some screenshots from the wireframes, and our development team, our user experience team, they're totally heads down, working on it to make that release happen later this year. And also on the communicate side, it's more of that persona, when they're sending those emails out and say it bounces, they would want to remediate to print using the existing Compose templates and not to have rebuild those assets. So that's going to be big as well. Kevin called out earlier as well about the deliver being bundled, because it's a channel, like as you're going through your digital transformation journey, you would want to make sure that you don't have to have a need to deploy a standalone application just to send those email and SMS communications out. What we're looking to do in SP11 release is to have deliver part of Compose as a module, so it's bundled within it, and a multiple more client requests to be included in that release. SP12 real quick, so license management, not only to track the usage of the volumes of the communications you're processing, but also to understand the components, the features that are being used, so we can identify the areas of improvement just based upon what you care about most. Business user productivity, collaborative templating, very important. It's a very popular request that you guys told us as well, that now that we've solved the problem where your business users can review the template and the active content design changes, but it's equally important for them to be able to edit the existing template, working in collaboration with IT without having the dependency on them, providing them business requirements, and logging into the existing Compose Designer. So we are looking to enable productivity application to begin with MS Word, so they would be able to access the existing template from the design repository, make the edits where they have got access to in that area, and submit and save, and then promote it using asset promotion to production to send out those omnichannel communications to the end consumers. Next slide, please. Right, so 4.4 SP10, our latest, greatest, that came out end of January. We all met last November, where we committed to delivering 4.4.10 at the end of January this year, and we have kept up the promise. So it's out there. Many of our clients have already upgraded. They're being super successful. I've got some great success stories I'm going to share at the end of the presentation. But just to now deep dive into what it really entails. Next slide, please. So we have modernized the way the users can administer their Compose server application. So based upon the client feedback, we've removed the dependency on dated flash technology and introduced a new modernized server admin offering, a cohesive user experience across Compose server. And that means not just retaining the current function in the system, but also we will address clients' pain points that they have had with old admin UI by improving the usability and the performance with better error messaging, doing validation upfront, making system more intuitive. Next slide, please. So here are some screenshots I've got of the new server admin UI, which has got enhanced usability, improved performance of finding things, and reducing the complexity. So earlier, I'm sure like most of you would totally relate to this. So it was a struggle to get to the right template because you had to browse through the long list of thousands of templates. But now with advanced asset search within this capability in the server admin and the filtering options that we have, you can get easily and quickly to design assets that you're looking for. Next, please. So on the resources tab, users had to browse horizontally and vertically to look for the resources and the corresponding device info. But with advanced view, users can easily select just the required resources and the output devices and only have the relevant information on the screen, which removes the complexity for you to have the need or the guesswork to see what is associated with each resource. Next, please. So what we've done is we've also introduced this compatibility mode. So based on selection of the batch or the immediate option, the relevant and corresponding configurations would be selected or deselected without you having the need to go through documentation to make the right selections. It's all about improving the performance, reducing the complexity, making the system more compliant and more accessible. And I'll talk more in one of the slides pretty much in a few minutes on the Express Batch edition, which I think is going to be a big win for the clients who are still on just standalone Doc 1 batch. So wait for that moment. Next, please. So business is looking to enrich their customer communications with rich graphical charts. We have extended the capability to leverage the enterprise charting tool, so your organization can set out the same chart types in their customer communications they're using elsewhere to have consistency. And that's not it. We're also providing you a sample application on the right. Yes, left side. Thank you so much for that. So that would be a great starting point as you're looking to integrate your chosen charting tool. Next, please. So I'm sure most of you are aware of it. One of the tools that we have is IDS Portal, and it's so encouraging to see such great active participation by yourself when you're raising those requests, adding new use cases, and it's really helpful for us because it helps validate the use cases globally. And so far, I'm very pleased to share that we have incorporated so many client requests, which equates to more than 300 votes, let alone in SV10 release. It accommodates 11 client requests, equating to more than 80 awards, which means a lot. And this particular request is by far the most popular one. So what that means is it's about enhancing the usability for the interactive user. So by listening to our clients, we have created a way for designer user to improve the selectability by the business user of the appropriate data. So we are ensuring now support for these dynamically built drop-down lists to improve the interactive user response to customer inquiries. Next slide, please. So think about this use case, mainly that someone is contacting the customer service center for a pension surrender request. Now, designer user can configure multiple choices that would be presented as checkboxes to the CSR as he or she is working on the template in the interactive editor to select the funds they would like to withdraw from. Next slide, please. And that's how, thank you. And that's how the usability looks like from the interactive user's perspective without having the need for designer or user to write that complex code, those business rules and conditional logic to make it happen. So it's a very, very big enhancement to have the usability improvements for both designer user and for the interactive user. Next, please. So similarly with the modify prompts for drop-down list to select the policy to surrender, which the interactive user will be dynamically prompted for as they're engaging real time with the customer to ensure that they're meeting their requirement in their moment of need. Next, please. And that's the usability from the interactive user's perspective. So Java updates. So with SP10, we enable our clients to leverage their Java vendor of choice, which also includes significant improvements in terms of the security aspect and multiple third-party updates. And it's all documented in our SP10 release guides. Next, please. Express batch. So that's the thing I wanted to folks to kind of wait for this one, but it's a win-win. So for our standalone batch only document clients, what we heard from the market was the roadblock for them to move to EngageOne Compose server has been performance when processing, say, huge volumes of those communications. But you know what? The good news is that we have addressed that concern by introducing Express Batch in the server, which gives us parity with the performance of standalone batch. And the users who are already on the server's default batch can now also avail high-speed batch performance improvements with Express Batch. So the main thing here is that our clients, being the standalone batch only, they could see that they were missing on all the value of the Compose server to have better business agility, to ensure legal and compliance, and also to drive those omni-channel communications to have better customer experience. And now there's nothing stopping them. You will avail from all the benefits of the batch coming onto the server, and also avail the interactive to drive those one-to-one, highly personalized, consistent, and relevant communications and the self-service needs of your end consumers. So that's a win-win. Next slide, please. So this is more of a reminder. So a majority of the clients have already upgraded, with our streamlined document management framework that we're offering, enabling our clients to go live quicker and achieve their day-to-day activities efficiently with ease and speed, having better collaboration between business and IT. And overall, what is the end goal here? It is all about lowering the total cost of ownership, improving the performance, breaking the silos between the business and IT, and resulting in higher efficiency, consolidation, and the return on investment overall by improving the quality of the communications being designed, which in a nutshell is ensuring regulatory compliance and brand consistency. Next slide, please. So working through the Client Connect program, so you all have helped us validate that this whole streamlined document management framework is helping our clients save 6 weeks to 2 months time when, say, they're undergoing through a company address change or a branding update activity, which reinforces again that we listen to our clients. So like we are going through the branding change ourselves in our organization, other organizations, they go through the same. And the capabilities like advanced asset search, design review and approval, and asset promotion, it simplifies the journey by streamlining their business operations. Next slide, please. So now designer user can quickly search for the assets. It could be a full text search, could be search based upon the asset type, and they can filter based upon the attributes. And then they can export the results to feed that information to support a business case. Next, please. So this project framework allows configurable review and approval process for template and active content change management. And this web-based access allows the business users to participate. Now, project managers can easily create a change request project and add those assets in the project and keep a track on the progress while IT is making the required changes and the business users are reviewing it, ensuring regulatory requirements are met in a very collaborative and an automated fashion. Next, please. So with the side-by-side comparison, it literally accelerates the template review process for the business users to ensure legal requirements are met. And then we also have an expanded support for third-party tools and services. So you can choose the comparison tool of your choice without having any dependency on a specific tool, which is a big win to let our business users more efficiently ensure the changes are accurate. Next, please. So asset promotion provides efficient mechanism to promote templates and associated resources like the active contents, the document classes, delivery options and devices across EngageOne server environments and enable our clients to go live quicker with the omni-channel communications, having more agility in their business operations, ensuring compliance. Next, please. So as our clients are going through their digital transformation journey, they want to preserve and reuse the historic investment in Compose as they're moving to digital channels. So we've done it with video integration that I've talked to you about in our previous discussions. We've done it with Deliver as you are sending your email and SMS communications out. We've done it with Vault as you want to archive those inbound and outbound communications. And now we want to take it to the next level with the mobile first communications. Next slide, please. So I kind of talked about on the roadmap slide. So this is what we're targeting for our upcoming release, SP11, which is very, very exciting because I'm sure that you guys would be totally excited as well about it. It's mainly about the mobile communications design and delivery, where you would want to reuse your existing investment in Compose. You want to have a centralized administration within Compose, and you would want to send those communications using EngageOne Deliver because that's what you're using. Next, please. And these are some screenshots, right? So there are two main personas here. One is about the admin user, and the second is about template designer. Let's talk about admin user journey. So on the left side, so what they can use, so we're leveraging the communicate mobile template. So on the left side, they can easily now select which communicate team, which equates to community that we call in Compose world. On the right side, once they're connected, they can then easily pick and choose a template. Which is as simple as it looks like here. Next, please. And then again, on the left side, what you see is that we are giving the flexibility to your admin users so they can, they can map the data fields between Communicate and Compose, which would be auto-populated, but we again giving flexibility so they can make edits if need be. And if not, they can just go with what's been already configured. And on the right side, it's all about making sure the configuration for the delivery options are all set. So you wanna choose your Deliver, and then if you want to archive those communications, then you can also bring Vault in the picture. Next, please. Template designer is the starting point mainly, right? Because they're the kind of right personas who are designing those mobile communications, reusing the existing assets. So on the right side, what you see on the top is your current view of your designer repository. So this is one of the templates that exist in your today's repository. You would be able to now tag your content, right? It could be a text block, could be tables, and that could entail all the conditional logic, the data elements that comes with it. You can select it, tag it, publish to cloud. And on the bottom left side, what you see is those tagged elements would then become like blocks, and that the user can then easily drag and drop when they're designing those mobile communications. So it's as simple as that. And then the next slide, please. Client code. So now that our clients have upgrades to our latest release, and they have come back to us sharing their feedback and the codes, how successful they are. So I would just like to share a story or two from here. So we've had a client in the insurance sector who says is processing communications like claims, insurance, driver licensing, and they are managing about 13 or more different environments across development, test, production, and disaster recovery. And when they talk to us, in terms of how they're managing those environments, it's so labor intensive, it's been so error prone. So we worked with them as we were designing the solution, and they gave us some great inputs on how we can help them automate some of the manual processes. And that has helped them save 90% of their time, which is massive, in promoting their templates and the associated dependencies from environment to environment. So with the asset promotion feature we talked about early in the presentation, we have automated the workflow to manage those 13 environments, enabling our clients to go live quicker and at the same time eliminating human errors. Another quick story I would want to share here is about from one of our partners who've been very successful introducing Compose Server with a client in the banking domain and replaced a competitive solution. They were looking for a unified platform to cover all their customer communication needs. And with the Compose Server's new volume-based licensing with all you can eat, the modular scalable architecture, business agility with the design review and approval, side-by-side comparison, and asset promotion, and driving those highly personalized, relevant, consistent, one-to-one omni-channel interactive communications. So they have a unified tone, voice, and messaging. We have been very successful in meeting our clients' business needs. That's from me. Any questions before I pass it to Chris?
Yes, thank you, Paranita and Kevin. We have some questions. You triggered some questions, so let me try to bundle them. Okay, first one, I think that's a pretty easy one, I hope. On which platforms or operating systems Express Batch is available?
So all the supported versions that we have at this point in time. So mainly we're driving towards Windows and Linux, and it's all documented. And then so everything that's supported today in all our current platforms, so Express Batch would be totally available with that. So look into the release documentation, and if you have more questions, we can take it offline.
Okay. Then a few questions that are related to the same topic, basically. More specific around collaboration. How far can a business user and an IT user can collaborate with each other? And in addition to that, what kind of workflow are you offering here?
Right. So there are two main kind of, I would say, distinctions here. So one is about a design review and approval that I just kind of called out in the presentation, right? So the business and the IT can collaborate as the IT is making changes to the template design, and then the business user can review it, and project manager can keep a track on the progress of those projects. Second being the communication review and approval, where the supervisors can review the communications for approval before being sent out to the customers. So they can trigger those workflows based upon the conditions defined for the template or by the data values, or based upon who the submitter is. For example, if the claim request is say 1,000 euros, it might just need one level up review. But if the claims amount is say 100K or more, it might need a CEO level review. So we offer both sort of review and approval process.
Okay, so to summarize, business and IT users can work closely together with each other with the distinction of responsibilities, and there is an approval flow based on business logic, correct?
Absolutely, it's all collaborative and it's all automated.
Okay, then two more technical questions. How are the interactive components working, like the drop-down lists and all other features you have shown, together with the SOAP service? Is there any connection or integration possible?
So I'm sure we can take that offline because everything is documented in terms of how the integration can happen. So we have also released like in-depth. Our main focus is to improve the user experience, right? So we want to make sure our documentation is as crisp as possible, providing all the details to provide an integration. So that should be in a very seamless fashion. But if there are any questions once whoever has raised that question after reviewing that documentation, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will be more than happy to address any pending concerns.
Okay, then I will park the other question related to ActiveX and SOAP services also for a later moment, so we can deep dive in detail.
Yeah, and then we can be more than happy to get you in touch with our technical leads and the architectures, the architects. So they will, I think they're the best people to address any technical deep dive questions there.
I see another question coming in. To be sure, are users able to create templates together, like in a collaboration solution? So I think the question is more, can end users, business users work on templates like in a collaborative way?
So that's what I think probably the question was raised before I even got onto the roadmap slide. So in our SP12 release, which would be after SP11, that is one of our primary areas to focus on to have this collaborative templating. So the business users would have equal right to be able to make those edits in MS Word to begin with, without having to have need and dependency on the IT and pass their business requirements. So they are doing their job, but they would be able to make edits in the areas that they are designated to, and have very collaborative journey along with IT and promote it to production.
Okay, so collaborative is coming in SP12.
That's true.
Okay. That were all the questions. So we will pass it over to Christopher Cummings for his presentation. So Christopher, I see you're already unmuted, so I will walk you through the slides. And thank you very much to the audience to give you some information. We're approximately with 60 users in the call for the moment, so which is a nice attendance. And Chris, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Hi, everybody. So kind of following the theme, as we've seen today, the customer is really in charge of when and where and how they're engaging with businesses. And research shows us these experiences don't have to be perfect, but they do need to be useful and fast and relevant. So what I'm going to do now is show you new ways you can engage with your customers in their moment of need using a cloud-based self-service solution, and we'll do that by way of this consumer use case. So in this example, we'll focus on insurance, specifically around policy renewals. As the world becomes more and more digital, consumer expectations are changing in this industry and in virtually every other industry, right? That's not news. Consumers are shopping online, they're comparing quotes before they ever even speak to an agent. And if that agent's not available, then the customer is just going to find another agency. Demand for self-service is not going away, it's only going to grow. And as consumers shift to mobile apps and messaging, they're not going to use outdated technology like web forms, for example. So what we're going to do today is show you how to proactively engage a customer, starting with SMS, to complete a policy renewal in an innovative, modern way, and then follow up that conversation with policy documents. There's going to be some builds in this slide. So if we go to the next bit, we'll show you in terms of the benefits to the business. We're really going to be streamlining and automating this process and keeping the consumer engaged to avoid a churn event. Next, for the consumer, we're going to be helping them by providing a transparent process that makes sure they retain the policy that they rely on for their peace of mind, and doing it using a digital touch point that matters to them. And then next, we'll have an example of some of the metrics you might watch, to gauge the success of the experience. And with that, we'll kick things off. So here you can see as a consumer, I received a new text message on my mobile device. I tap into that, and I've got this important notice about my renter's insurance up for renewal. When I click the link to the SMS, I see this screen here that brings me to a personalized conversational experience. We see it's personalized, and I can quickly and clearly get walked through this renewal process. Key pieces of information are confirmed along the way. I see my new rate. I like that. So I decide to take action. If we go to the next slide, we can see that I've chosen to renew. And now the chatbot triggers a confirmation email to my account on file. This was a quick, seamless, painless experience, really good. If we go to the next slide, we'll see a note about the email. I open up my email and there's this new message from Chris Cummings at ZipZap Insurance. The email is responsive. It looks really nice on my phone, and it has all the details I need to look at my updated policy documents. To kind of recap, in this example, we focused on insurance, moving from an SMS as an action point to a conversational conversion event to an email summary. And there's much more we could do if we want to build out a really engaging, helpful experience. For example, the email could link to a personalized interactive video that could react in real time to decisions that the user is making within the video experience. We could add a live agent to the conversational experience, if a human agent is more appropriate. And again, make it all really seamless. So the agent has the context of the conversation before they take over from the chatbot. That way they don't annoy the consumer by asking him to repeat information that they've already provided. That was an insurance example, but you can easily imagine, I think, how this could apply to other verticals. If you imagine it as an SMS reminder for an appointment coming up, a reminder that your bill is due soon, or even that your bill is past due. You can reach out to people on email, right? We support that, totally makes sense. But with Communicate, you also get the immediacy of SMS. And when those pop up on your device, we know from consumer research or even our own behavior, when an SMS arrives on your phone, as a consumer, you take a look and you take action. Here you can see other use case examples. There are many across other verticals. If you think of utilities, say there's an outage, either planned or unplanned, you can very easily send out ad hoc communication to your exact branding standards that would proactively let your customers know about the situation and then head off the volume coming into your call center. Or appointment scheduling an appointment with your doctor or other healthcare provider. You can easily automate that using a chatbot. Or a service situation, say somebody is coming to install or repair something around the house. Once the appointment is scheduled, you could send an email with a link to a brief video that thanks the consumer for their business and then tells them how to prepare for that specific service. On the day before or the day of the service, you could send an SMS to the customer to make sure they're actually home when the technician arrives, so you can avoid the cost of a no-show appointment. So that's just a handful of ideas to prime the pump to show you how you can combine these types of technologies to create a personalized, seamless, engaging experience that your customers really want and need. If we go to the next slide, we'll take a look behind the scenes at some of the technologies that make these experiences possible. EngageOne Communicate is our platform that empowers business users to create engaging, responsive, personalized communications through email and SMS. Go to the next slide, we'll take a look at some of the key components here. So this is a SaaS product, so it's highly scalable. It leverages microservices and an API-based architecture, which means we can deliver a new value really quickly. From a UI perspective, we've designed Communicate with the business user in mind. So we focused on things like ease of use, getting you up and running quickly, so you have a much quicker ramp to ROI. At the same time, since we are API driven, the more technical users who want to call different services on demand or even build their own custom interfaces on top of what we offer, they can do that. I mentioned getting up and running quickly. A big part of that is our intuitive templates and editing capability. For a quick start, you can use our responsive templates. You can import templates from other systems, or you can quickly and easily build new templates using our drag and drop builder, which I'll show you in a few moments. We have direct integrations with Photoshop and Adobe Creative Cloud. So that means your creative teams can work how they like with the tools that they normally use and get the end product that they're looking for. In addition to making it easy to design, we've also made it easy for you to personalize your communications. You can do that by uploading data files in a variety of different formats, or you can connect to different data sources through our built-in integration with Spectrum On Demand. Finally, with Communicate Analytics, business users can understand in real time which communications are performing well and which can be further optimized. If we go to the next slide, we'll have some screenshots to give you a sense of what it all looks like. In the upper right, that's our block builder. Again, it's drag and drop, so you can drag in different layouts and then populate those layouts with text, with images, buttons, social media icons, whatever you need to convey your message. In the builder, it's also easy to add data for personalization. That big green block at the top, first_name, that's an example of personalization. We're using that variable to greet the person by their first name as it's described in the data source. If an entry is missing that field for some reason, we have a default specified. In this case, it'll say my friend. That way it's not blank. If you look over to the right, this is our data sources area. Again, really easy to add data sources to communicate. You can do that through direct file upload. You can do it through API. In this example, the data source has already been loaded, so you can manually verify the data that's going to be used for a given communication. And then you also have the ability to edit that data if it's been uploaded to the platform. So really easy to make quick modifications before a send event. In the lower left is our reporting area. So you can see at a glance all the activity related to these communications. You have the high-level metrics you need for sends and opens, and you can drill down all the way to the individual recipient level to see how a specific individual interacted with a particular communication. And then finally, in the lower right is our templating area. You can browse templates, you can search for templates, and we have a thumbnail preview so you can get a sense of what each template looks like before you actually open it. If we go to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about video. So we know video is strategically critical. 97% of marketers say that video helps customers understand products. 90% of consumers agree, saying that video helps them make purchasing decisions. With EngageOne Video, we're helping businesses engage with their customers through interactive, real-time, personalized video. If we go to the next slide, we'll take a look at how we're doing that. So the way we see the ecosystem, it's really a blend of tactical use cases and strategic use cases for video. These can be delivered by a mix of specialists and business users. So we have pro functionality for those more strategic use cases, and now this capability for business users to create compelling videos as well. So real-time, interactive, personalized videos created through a simple web-based interface that leverage advanced text-to-speech capabilities powered by Google DeepMind. And it's all backed by an analytics suite so you can track performance to understand how users are engaging with your videos. If you go to the next slide, we have some more screenshots here. There are a lot of them. I won't go through all of them, but I will point out a few things here. So if we look at the upper right, that's the creation interface where you can add scenes, select or upload media. In the lower left, you see an example where you can add data sources to your project and add scenes from a library to that project. Down in the lower left, we have some examples of audio. So I mentioned text-to-speech. We also have the ability to play different background music as well, and you can adjust the levels of that. And then in the lower right, we have examples of calls to action. So if you can see those buttons for learn more, create an account, contact us. These are buttons, and you can link to external URLs with them. You can link to other parts of the video. You can create a really interactive, engaging experience. And in addition to buttons, you could do other things like forms, checklists, things that really make a really engaging experience. If we go to the next slide, we'll take a look at EngageOne Converse. If we go to the next one, we'll take a look at some of the key components. So Converse is our all-in-one platform that helps business users create the kinds of experiences for their customers on messaging channels. It's all conversational. Like the other products, Converse is a cloud-based solution. So here we're helping marketing, customer service, customer experience, helping them create automated conversations on the channels that their customers are trying to reach them on. Largely, this is the web, but it also includes other areas such as Facebook Messenger. We handle voice, such as with Amazon Alexa, and also interactive PDFs. They do all that using an intuitive drag and drop designer augmented by natural language processing. In addition to the designer, we provide analytics so they can understand how users are engaging with their bots. And we also have live takeover capabilities, which I'll touch on in a moment. But basically, that's a way to get human agents into these conversations as needed. If we go to the next slide, we'll take a look at some of the screenshots. So up top is an example of confusion triggers within our analytics. So with the analytics, you get a number of different important things. So full conversation transcripts. Yeah, if you have specific questions that you're trying to keep track of, yeah, you can do that within the interface. The confusion triggers are really important because it's a way for you to chart over time the number of times that the bot has defaulted to a default phrase because it didn't understand what the user was trying to say or what they were trying to do. Along with the phrase, you can view the transcript to get the context of what the user was trying to do when they use that phrase. You can export all this information to CSV so you can do your own analysis and then decide how you want to handle this going forward. In the upper right is an example of the embedded live takeover solution. So you can see all the active conversations with the current status. The one at the top in this example is red because it's a conversation in need of human intervention. In the lower corner of that screenshot, we have the consumer's conversation with the bot, which the agent, again, can review before they actually take it over. So that way the agent can understand the context and also avoid asking the user to repeat information that they've already provided, which would make for a really annoying experience. You know, nobody likes that. In the lower left, we have an example of the new natural language capabilities, where you can specify intents and utterances, and then click the train button to have the software build out natural connections and make those logical jumps. So if a user is typing, like a Star Wars character like Yoda, or if they're misspelling words, the bot will still respond appropriately. And then lastly, in the lower right is an example of the bridges that we're building into customers' existing marketing stacks with out-of-the-box integrations with key solutions. In this case, with Salesforce Live Chat. All right, so those are the three products: Communicate, Video, and Converse as they stand today. As we look to the future on the next slide, we'll see the future is really about moving from individual channel products into a cohesive SaaS platform. I mentioned that microservices kind of architecture. To be honest, I like saying it just because it sounds cool, but realistically, it's that technology as a foundation, which is allowing us to unify the platform. Each microservice is built independently, gets its own releases independently, so we can have one platform with individual teams working on the channels and release changes and updates in a really seamless, scalable way. That's what's happening behind the scenes. In terms of what you can see in terms of the UI and the experience, as Kevin and Paranita have mentioned, we've invested a lot in usability testing and market feedback, and we're applying those best practices across the platform. So where before you had 3 different editors with 3 different ways of getting data into the system and 3 different ways of using that data to apply personalization, we've critically analyzed and tested the products, again, with that investment in UX, to determine where there need to be differences and where they can and should be similar. So that way we can reduce the learning curve and provide a cohesive overall user experience. I'll show you an example of what that looks like in a moment. In addition to bringing together email, video, SMS, and conversational experiences, we're leveraging the investments we've made to bring on additional channels. The first one of those will be a very basic document composition channel. So if you want to do something simple, such as attach a flyer to your email, suppose it's a product brochure or a PDF about an event, you'll be able to do that simply and easily. And then finally here, on the compose front, One of the goals for us in EngageOne is to integrate, communicate, and compose and communicate in ways we've been talking about today. We want both products to leverage key functionalities of the other, and I'll show you an example of what that looks like again in a moment. If we go to the next slide. First, what we'll show here is an example mainly of point number 2 in terms of the enhanced CX. So these are all designs from the upcoming SaaS platform unification. In the upper left is email, the middle one is video, and then the bottom one is conversational. When I mentioned us leveraging best practices across the platform, but allowing that individuality where there needs to be it based on the channel needs, this is a good example of that. The design pattern across all of them in the new platform is that block builder kind of motif. On the left side, you have your communication, and then on the right side, you have your blocks, which you drag and drop into the left side. This was really born from feedback on Communicate's original HTML builder, which people liked, but it felt a little too difficult for a business user. As we explored the problem space there and came to the block builder and got positive feedback on that, UX tested that against the other channels, and we saw a really positive response there too. At the same time, what shows in the left side is specific to the communication type, because the needs of an email are going to be different from a personal interactive video, which will be different from a conversation. But we've visualized the building process so it's much more intuitive and enjoyable to use. If we go to the next slide, you can see here what the creation process will look like. So when you go to create a new communication, you can see it's all originating from one place. You have one process for creating an email or a chatbot conversation, an SMS, a video, and more. Go to the next slide. When it comes to the print remediation through Compose, from a communicate perspective, suppose you send a digital first communication using Communicate, but you're also a Compose customer, you'll have the option to reuse your existing Compose configuration for remediation. So you send the email, for example, using Communicate, the email does not get opened within a defined period of time, we'll be able to remediate back to print using Compose. And Communicate will also be able to retrieve the remediation status for its reporting needs. If we go to the next slide. So to sort of summarize here, where we're moving toward is from individual SaaS products, as you can see on the left, and we're moving toward a unified SaaS communication platform, which you can see in the middle of the screen. And that's going to provide businesses with access to foundational communication mediums like email and cutting edge communication mediums like video and conversational. And all of that will empower the average knowledge worker to engage with their customers on their channels of choice and do so in a way where we provide functionality for domain experts in terms of data integration, print remediation through Compose, so they can execute more advanced use cases that really drive business objectives. As we move forward, we'll continue to build on that foundation by adding more channels and more capabilities that will also help you drive results. That's it from me. Thank you.
Are you sure, Chris? I still have some slides here.
Oh, yes, I thought we had touched on that with the
Okay.
yeah, the create new flow, but basically what we're looking at here again is kind of how you would create something new in the unified platform. So you don't have different entry points for email versus text message. You'll basically enter this same flow where you pick a channel and start your process from there. So one single creation start point.
Okay. Okay. I think we're up for some questions, or is this the slide of Paranita already?
Yeah, I can talk to that one. This is Kevin.
Okay, Kevin.
So what we're showing here is the fact that is what we do with our user-centered design. So as you've heard and from Paranita, from Chris, I talked about it a little bit earlier, probably in the earlier session. we've tripled our investment in our user experience team, our UX team, in order to get deeper into how our clients, our customers, our users are using the applications. We do a whole bunch, we do a varying amount of activities there, anything from persona analysis and definition, do interviews directly with the clients. We do primary and secondary research. We observe users, and when they're using the software both on-prem, we set up some environments online so we can capture the different usabilities. Everything starts with a study, an objective, and then we summarize what those readouts are for our team. Next slide, please. From here, this is just a little bit of a leave behind on the EngageOne, the key feature deliverables for this year, for the next, what we're targeting. A lot of this was already covered, but as and hopefully that you've seen that we're making significant investments in both the Communicate and the Compose platforms in order to enable you to design and deliver multi-channel, omni-channel communications that engage with your customers throughout their life cycle. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
And then this is a little bit of an eye chart, and it's an eye chart not really on purpose, but it shows the breadth. So earlier on when I spoke, I showed a slide that had all of the different capabilities we have. That's traditionally the products that we had. So you saw products in there such as Deliver, EngageOne Deliver. You saw EngageOne Vault, EngageOne Converse. As we're starting now to pull everything into more tightly integrated components of either the Compose or the Communicate platform, these are the different steps that we have in delivery of software releases in order to help us achieve that objective, while at the same time sustaining the investment that we have that in the way the products are being used by customers today, used by our clients today. The items that are highlighted in green are the items that are the releases that were delivered to market, and those releases were delivered to market on time. Next slide, please.
Okay, before we jump into the digital self-service presentation of Patrick, I would like to address some questions, Chris, because you triggered multiple persons, sorry. Let me see. First question, Chris. Does your chatbot have AI capabilities?
Oh, that's a great question. So I didn't really touch on that in the presentation. So there are two big camps in automated conversations, right? There are those that are completely deterministic. It's just clicks of buttons and simple keyword matching. And then all the way on the other side, you've got the fully AI solutions, which can be great, but they also cost a lot in terms of time and money and resources. And yes, we've seen some examples out there from Microsoft and others. You can sometimes get unpredictable results. With Converse, we feel like we're operating now in this sweet spot where we support deterministic capabilities, but we've augmented that with built-in natural language capabilities. So you can train the software on intents and utterances, and that way you don't have to key in every variation of a phrase or every possible misspelling of a word, which would be really annoying. So that said, if a business has decided that they need more AI than that, we can also integrate with third-party solutions. For example, with Watson, with Google, we've done that via API. So if you're already using those, we can work with that. We also have some partners that we can work with who have integrated their cognitive solution into it. So you can quickly build out a knowledge base from existing content, keep it up to date, and then the business users can train the bot to respond with the most appropriate answers using just the Converse chat interface. So we have a lot of options there.
Okay, sounds great. A general question. I'm mixing here technical and general. Also for Chris, I believe. We already have a cloud solution for emails, so why should we need Communicate?
I won't take offense at that question. I think it's a good question. So I don't know what specific tool is being used, but I can say so for say our mid-market customers, they often don't have a marketing cloud, or they do, but it's too complicated for certain teams to get access to it. But they still want to have good communications with their customers. For those who do have a solution already in place, whether it's homegrown or not, I can tell you that people do like using Communicate because it integrates with live data. Business users can get in easily, quickly, get communications out in hours, not days, and get valuable feedback as well, so they can adjust as needed. Because it is a cloud-based product, it is quick to get going. And as we've just been talking about today, soon Communicate will offer much more than just email and SMS all under one roof. So you'll be able to create these conversational experiences, video experiences, and more.
Yeah, okay, clear. Yeah, that's, I think, also a big differentiator, and to have one central platform where you can send all your, or manage all your email communication instead of all siloed systems, several units.
Yeah.
Okay, another question, a more technical one. So I'm flipping here. Is XML an available data source for Communicate or in Communicate?
Yes, so we support XML as well.
Okay, that's a short answer. That's good news. Another, a bit more extensive question. So if Communicate and Compose will integrate with each other, how will they handle web content management environments? So basically the question is more in that, can we reuse content from Communicate or Compose into web content management environment?
So I'll take that one. It's Kevin. So we haven't totally explored that use case yet. It's something that has come up in very few conversations to date. So it's something that we'll definitely have to take back and talk to the engineering team about. Also making sure that we also circle back with some of the users who have that question. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to you, get the person who asked that question, so we can understand more of what it is that they're looking for.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, that we can collaborate with the end user to scope the question in detail. Another question, yeah, I think Kevin or who Chris can answer. I think it's an easy one. Where is the SaaS platform running? Is this US or EU? And will it comply with all EU regulations?
Yep, so everything that we showed here today is run in the cloud. So we have instances stood up around the world. Today we've got APAC, located in Sydney. We've got the US, we have EMEA. If we need to have other places set up, just talk to us, we can make that happen.
Yeah, so it is possible to choose a data center in the EU, basically.
Correct.
That's the answer. Yeah.
Yep.
Another question: does Communicate support repeating data and active content?
Yeah, so if you're trying to create an invoice in Communicate, for example, so we do have that capability. So if you want to have repeated data, nested data in there, we can do that. In terms of active content, I might want to follow up separately on that, just to make sure they understand correctly. I know different people kind of use that in different ways, but happy to follow up on that one.
Yeah, super. I will share the details, and if required, that we can reach out to the person who is asking the question to make sure we have ticked the box.
Yeah. And if I may, so active content, that is also a feature within the EngageOne Compose that a lot of clients use for their communication design. When we are releasing the mobile design capability from Compose, we'll be able to leverage the active content in that mobile design that's coming from Compose. So if it's a Compose user that's posing that question, it's a feature within the mobile design that we're going to be releasing.
Okay, thank you. Let me check if I ticked all the questions before we hand over. Yep, I think we've got them all. Thank you very much, Chris and Kevin. So Patrick, the floor is yours again. And thank you for all the people who are asking these questions.
Oké. Nou goed, ik denk dat we allemaal een duidelijk beeld hebben gezien van waar dit naartoe aan het bewegen is. Ik zal proberen om vanuit ons perspectief samen te vatten hoe dat er nu uitziet. Deze webinar was in eerste instantie bedoeld voor onze bestaande Compose klanten, die vaak nog in scenario 1 zitten. Waarbij eigenlijk nu een aantal mogelijkheden en progressies ontstaan. Er zijn natuurlijk klanten waar we mee in gesprek zijn die voor een digital-only scenario kunnen gaan. Zeker op het moment dat er wat basale printmogelijkheden in Communicate komen. Zoals Chris Cummings aangaf. In de praktijk zullen heel veel van onze klanten naar 2 of 3 bewegen. Zeker ook omdat we complexe datagedreven documenten hebben. En er ontstaat eigenlijk een scenario waarbij Compose wordt gebruikt voor eigenlijk datgene waar onze klanten het al voor gebruiken, maar waarbij Communicate puur als een online cloud designer gebruikt kan worden, met dus hergebruik, zoals Kevin net zei, van active content, logo's en noem het allemaal maar op, om dus je digital design te kunnen doen. Ook nog dat in Communicate de video en chat opties worden geïntegreerd, waarbij dan uiteindelijk je on-premise die documenten ook kan gaan verzenden via EngageOne Deliver. Dat is een scenario waar zeker meerdere van onze klanten naartoe onderweg zijn. En dan is er nog een scenario waarbij Communicate vooral gebruikt wordt voor als hoofdmoot voor het digitaal verzenden van de interacties en de kanalen die we net hebben gezien. Maar waarbij je toch nog bijvoorbeeld Compose kunt gebruiken voor wat we dan noemen dynamische complexe attachments. Oftewel dezelfde data die je drijft en velden om die e-mailcommunicatie bijvoorbeeld te maken, wordt dan gebruikt om door middel van Compose een dynamische attachment te laten vullen. Waarmee je bijvoorbeeld in één keer in diezelfde e-mail een complex document als bijvoorbeeld een polis kunt meesturen. Dus hiermee bieden we eigenlijk nieuwe klanten, maar ook bestaande klanten een pad om in die digitale evolutie in te stappen. Volgende slide. We hebben eigenlijk nu gekeken in samenwerking met onze partner Pitney Bowes naar de oranje blokken, die dus langzamerhand verworden tot 2 aan elkaar gelinkte platformen. Wij hebben als partij natuurlijk in de Benelux-markt nog een aantal meer oplossingen die we voeren. En de reden waarom we daarover willen praten is omdat die samen met de oranje blokken ons in staat stellen om die end-to-end digitale self-service oplossingen te leveren. Dus wij zien dit als schaalbare Lego-blokken waarmee je veel sneller en goedkoper dan zelfbouw in staat bent om door te gaan met het bouwen van een functionaliteit die je nodig hebt. En misschien goed om voor degenen die in de eerste webinar zaten, zullen dat al gezien hebben, om even bij elkaar te laten komen voor een slide. Wat dat dan kan betekenen in een heel concreet voorbeeld, wat gaat over in dit geval een autoverzekering, maar weten dat we ook al ver gevorderd zijn met een vergelijkbaar end-to-end demo die dan gaat over afnemen van producten bij een telecombedrijf. Michel.
Ja, dankjewel Patrick. Ik ga jullie dus zo meteen een technische demonstratie laten zien van een van de demo's die we gebouwd hebben. De bedoeling is dat wij in de loop van het jaar verschillende en meerdere demonstraties zullen publiceren, die dus ook gewoon publiekelijk toegankelijk zijn. Het zijn kleine stukjes uit een customer journey die we dan ook daadwerkelijk gemapt hebben. En proberen te beschrijven om jullie een gevoel te geven bij wat het nou precies inhoudt om end-to-end digital en zo laag mogelijk drempels te creëren om toch iets te kunnen bereiken. Wat je dan ook vandaag gezien hebt, hè, zijn de huidige staat en de toekomstige verwachtingen van de 2 grote communicatieplatformen van Pitney Bowes. Waarbij eentje zich vooral concentreert op de print en offline gedeelte en de andere dus op de digitale interacties. Daarnaast hebben jullie gezien dat wij een visie hebben rondom gewoon klantinteractie. En vooral hoe dit ingericht kan worden bij jullie als onze klant zijnde. De bouwblokken zijn allemaal los van elkaar inzetbaar of als een geheel inzetbaar. Afhankelijk van de behoeften en keuzes die op dat moment gemaakt moeten worden. Wat ook al eerder is aangegeven is dat wij veel tijd in onderzoek stoppen omtrent customer experience, maar ook de customer effort score, dat soort dingetjes. Om uiteindelijk onze klanten zo goed mogelijk te kunnen ondersteunen, maar ook om onze eigen processen daarbij zo goed mogelijk in te kunnen richten. De eerste demonstratie die we gemaakt hebben gaat dus om een autoverzekering afsluiten. En we willen dus ook graag laten zien hoe dat zou kunnen werken met de toolings die wij ervoor beschikbaar hebben gemaakt. Gebaseerd op die bouwstenen en die bouwplaat die wij dus hebben bedacht. Wat ik al aangaf, het gaat om een autoverzekering. De reden dat we hiervoor gekozen hebben om in eerste instantie mee te beginnen is omdat wij veel banken en verzekeraars als klant hebben. En daarnaast is een autoverzekering ook iets waar de meeste mensen zich wel in kunnen herkennen hoe dat ongeveer werkt. Tijdens het werken van deze customer journey zijn we een paar keypoints tegengekomen die ik nog even nadrukkelijk wou benoemen. Een daarvan is het input management, end-to-end digital en de low effort service. Input management, het staat er in principe al beschreven. Hè? Klanten zijn niet bezig met kanalen. Ze doen gewoon. Wanneer je op de bank zit met je tablet, wil je via je tablet ook een verzekering kunnen afsluiten. Als je in de auto zit, heb je misschien een telefoon bij de hand en kan je beter even bellen. En als je op de computer zit, wil je het via de computer kunnen doen. Wat daarbij dus belangrijk was dat de frontend losstaat van het proces wat erachter plaatsvindt. Dus het doel hiervan was dat de frontend eenvoudig vervangbaar kon zijn. Op de achtergrond duidelijk een workflow content automation plaatsvond om die informatie door te kunnen geven. Het resultaat is dan ook dat wij van nu, wat ik zo meteen laat zien, een website gebruiken, maar we eenvoudig de vormgeving daarvan kunnen aanpassen. Of we hebben zelfs al, dat willen we in onze telco demonstratie gaan doen zodra die live komt, Google Home te gebruiken als inputkanaal. De workflow content automation, die er vervolgens voor zorgt dat het end-to-end digital is, vangt dan de input in feite op, ongeacht het kanaal wat daarvoor gebruikt wordt. Daarnaast kan de WCA-oplossing ook meteen informatie verrijken, aanvullen daar waar nodig is. En in dit voorbeeld zal je bijvoorbeeld de bedragen uit een bronsysteem halen, de kosten voor de verzekering uit een bronsysteem halen, zodat die op elk gewenst moment ook aangepast kunnen worden en overal meteen duidelijk beschikbaar zijn. Tot slot, daar heeft Patrick het al eerder over gehad, die Customer Effort Score is een belangrijke. Onderzoeken tonen gewoon aan dat mensen klant blijven omdat gebruikersgemak laag is. En daarom vinden wij het belangrijk dat zo'n aanvraagformulier laagdrempelig is. En ik hoop dat dat straks duidelijk naar voren komt. Dan ga ik. Filip, kan jij mij presentatierechten geven?
Je krijgt nu de recht om je scherm te delen.
Ja.
Alsjeblieft.
Dan pak ik de presentatie erbij. Deze website is dus publiek toegankelijk, dus iedereen zou deze kunnen invullen. Tref toedialog.eu. Wat je hier als eerste ziet, is dat nu de website in het Engels is. Dat komt omdat mijn computer ingesteld staat op de Engelse taal, dus die neemt hij automatisch over. Maar ik ga nu bijvoorbeeld in het Nederlands wil ik verder gaan. Daarnaast zie je nog een knopje van de QR-code. Deze hebben wij geïntroduceerd tijdens het event in november, waarbij onze bezoekers allemaal een badge hebben gekregen met daarop een QR-code. Als je op deze knop drukt, dan komt er een QR-code scanner naar voren. Je zou dus je badge op dat moment kunnen scannen en dan weten we precies wie je bent. Daarmee komen de vragen die niet meer relevant zijn, omdat we toch al weten wie je bent, komen te vervallen. Zoals bijvoorbeeld voornaam, achternaam en e-mailadres. Hiermee kan je dus de eerste stap meteen overslaan. Nou, voor nu ga ik hem handmatig invullen. Ik gebruik daarvoor gewoon mijn eigen gegevens. Oh, dat is makkelijk. Ik laat het telefoonnummer voor nu even leeg. En ik kies voor land Nederland, aangezien we zo meteen een koppeling hebben met RDW. En onze Belgische landgenoten die hebben geen, hoe zeg je dat? Geen RDW-mogelijkheden. Dus zodoende hebben wij, kies ik nu voor Nederland. Nou, je ziet meteen dat het al persoonlijk is. Je ziet meteen dat hij mij in die zin verwelkomt. Hij vraagt om een kenteken. Overige vragen worden nu nog verborgen. Nou, mocht je tijdens de invulling je kenteken niet weten, hebben we een optie toegevoegd, zodat je kan zeggen, ik weet mijn kenteken niet. Maar ik ga voor nu mijn eigen gegevens invullen. Druk op zoek. Hierbij maken we dus een koppeling met het RDW, wat ik al eerder aangaf, om de gegevens van de auto op te halen. Nou, je ziet dus dat ik een Ford Focus rijd. Ik ben een nette rijder, dus ik schadevrije jaren. En ik maak op dit moment niet zo heel veel kilometers meer, maar zit op gemiddeld 20.000 kilometer per jaar. Op dat moment dat ik deze 3 gegevens heb ingevuld, gaat op de achtergrond het BCA aan het werk. Die haalt de informatie op uit een bronsysteem waar de formule in feite in vastgelegd staat om deze prijzen te kunnen berekenen. Dus hier zie je de prijs per maand terugkomen. Nou, ik moet een keuze maken, WA, WA plus of all risk. Ik kies in dit geval voor WA plus. En ik zal deze indienen. Op de achtergrond gebeuren nu een aantal dingetjes. De WCA gaat de informatie delen met de EngageOne video oplossing om een persoonlijke video te genereren. Tegelijkertijd gaat hij een mail klaarzetten en versturen en tevens een persoonlijke pagina genereren. Deze persoonlijke pagina kom ik zo meteen nog op terug. Even wachten tot we het mailtje binnenkrijgen. Oh, daar is hij. En ik zal de afbeelding nog even binnenhalen. Hier zie je dus, een andere mail. Hier zie je de mogelijkheid dat we een video hebben aangeroepen. Mijn pagina. Nog een keer een bevestiging van de gegevens die we reeds ingevuld hebben. Tevens hebben we op de grond een API gebruikt om een foto van de auto op te halen. Helaas haalt hij niet de juiste kleur op. Dat ligt echt aan die API die we daarvoor gebruikt hebben. Nou, nog een keertje kunnen we naar mijn portaal en meteen de chatbot die beschikbaar is om bijvoorbeeld een upgrade te doen of andere aanvragen te doen. We beginnen even met de video. Helaas is het zo dat we met GoToMeeting niet het audio kunnen doorzetten. Dus ik ga jullie kort vertellen wat er verteld wordt. Er wordt dus nu een video afgespeeld met op de achtergrond een text-to-speech mogelijkheid. Dat betekent dat we dus gewoon de tekst hebben ingetypt en even geluid goed uitzetten. Kom. En deze tekst die wordt uitgesproken vervolgens door een computerstem uiteindelijk. Door interpuncties en dat soort dingetjes kan je die stem redelijk heel goed menselijk laten klinken. En als onderbouwing gebruiken voor jouw video. Nou, je ziet hier nog een keer een bevestiging van de keuze die ik gemaakt heb. Je zou nog een andere keuze kunnen maken. Dan wordt er wat meer verteld over die andere keuze die je dan vervolgens maakt. Maar je zou dus vanuit de video een opdracht kunnen geven, wat vervolgens weer weggeschreven wordt in de database. Ik ga voor nu even verder met WA+. Dan krijg ik opnieuw een bevestiging van de bestelling die ik dan gedaan heb. Dus een opsomming. En deze gegevens haalt hij ook uit een bronsysteem. Dus als we dat in het bronsysteem aanpassen, kunnen dus meer of mindere functies weergegeven worden. Tot slot nog een overzicht van de polis met alle gegevens die erbij komen. En hij heeft in de tussentijd, tenminste dat had hij al gedaan, onder water een willekeurige adviseur binnengehaald. Toevallig was het nu weer Dennis Korn. Om dat er dus terug te laten komen dat je meteen ook contact kan opnemen met je persoonlijke adviseur. Nou, uiteindelijk bedanken we nog eventjes. En is deze video in feite afgelopen. Verder gaan we naar de persoonlijke pagina waar we het net over hadden. Die is ook onder water gegenereerd. Dus nu hebben we ervoor gekozen om hier geen logingegevens voor te zetten. Maar het is mogelijk om bijvoorbeeld in de e-mail het wachtwoord, een tijdelijk wachtwoord mee te geven. Die je als eerst moet opgeven op het moment dat je op deze pagina terechtkomt. En dan natuurlijk ook verplicht moet vervangen. Je ziet hier dus dat de gegevens van de auto komen nog eens een keertje terug. Mijn persoonlijke gegevens komen nog een keertje terug. Betalingsgegevens, die zou je dan kunnen inzien. Nog wat andere stapjes die je zou kunnen doen. Bijvoorbeeld je verzekering upgraden. Dat hebben we nu gedaan met een testje voor het telefoonnummer. Maar het telefoonnummer heb ik net niet ingevuld. Dus ik kan bijvoorbeeld hier aangeven ook ik wil mijn gegevens aanpassen. Dan krijg je hier nog de gegevens die bekend zijn. En ik vul nog even mijn telefoonnummer in. Submit. Die verstuurt hij, nou, dan zie je dat de gegevens terugkomen. Nou, dat is eigenlijk een korte demonstratie hoe de customer journey eruit kan zien van de onboarding of de aanmelding van een nieuwe klant tot en met de persoonlijke pagina, waarin de content dus beheerd wordt vanuit een workflow content automation.
Dankjewel, Michel.
Ja.
Ja, er is een vraag binnengekomen. Eentje voor jou en eentje voor Patrick. Ik begin even met die vraag voor jou,
Ja.
Michel. Ik zal even controle terugnemen. Make presenter. Ja. Een vraag waarvan ik vermoeden heb dat die vanuit België gesteld wordt. Hoe is het mogelijk om kentekens of nummerborden vanuit België ook te ontsluiten in deze demo?
In Nederland weet ik in ieder geval, is er een dienst, RDW, die dit beheert en die heeft daarvoor een publiekelijk toegankelijke API voor opgezet. Dus die is door iedereen bruikbaar. Wat ik begrepen heb, is dat in België kentekens aan een persoon gekoppeld zijn. En daarmee dus veel strenger onder GDPR-toezicht vallen. Er is dan, dus voor zover ik weet, geen publiekelijk toegankelijke API beschikbaar, waarmee we die informatie zouden kunnen ophalen.
Ja, dus publiekelijk niet, hè, voor demo-reden, maar natuurlijk een verzekeraar zelf die het kenteken heeft, of een leasemaatschappij, die zou natuurlijk zijn eigen data kunnen gebruiken en op die manier toch ook persoonlijk en relevant communiceren met zijn of haar klanten.
Exact.
Ja, dan denk ik een vraagje voor Patrick. Welke workflow tools biedt Dialog Groep aan?
Als je kijkt naar de bouwblokken waar we het over hebben gehad, dan kennen we er eigenlijk twee smaken in. De ene, dat is waar deze demo eigenlijk gekoppeld aan Communicate heel erg op gebaseerd is het tool Infinity van Intellidox. Eigenlijk bedoeld om heel snel input te kunnen verzamelen van klanten, documenten te kunnen genereren op basis daarvan, maar ook allerlei interacties, datakoppelingen, multilabel en multilingual, dus meertalig. Oplossingen te kunnen maken. Dus alles wat te maken heeft met dit soort processen kunnen we over het algemeen aan met die oplossing. En we hebben dat dus ook al geïntegreerd met Communicate en met Compose overigens voor een klant. De tweede oplossing is wat algemener. Dat is meer robotic process automation. Dat is in ons geval Automate van Help Systems. Dat gebruiken we meer als het gaat om het automatiseren van routinematige handelingen en het overbruggen van complexe systemen bijvoorbeeld. Dus met andere woorden, alles wat je zou dat kunnen gebruiken om letterlijk data van schermen van bronsystemen af te halen of ze zelfs voor je te laten intikken als andere vormen van integratie niet mogelijk zijn. Dat kan ook gebruikt worden om bepaalde uitleesacties, conversieacties te automatiseren. Dus dat zijn eigenlijk twee specifieke stukken gereedschap die we hebben. En dan vergeet ik eigenlijk nog bijna dat we vanuit integratie- en conversiecontext ook nog met Crawford Technologies samenwerken. Dus wij hebben tot nu toe geen scenario gezien waarbij we niet konden integreren, koppelen of automatiseren door inzet van die bouwstenen.
Oké, helder antwoord. Althans, voor mij toch. Patrick.
Ja, nou ja, de afronding. Ook dit is een herhaling voor de mensen die al in de eerste zaten. Uiteindelijk, wat wij graag willen bereiken voor onze klanten is natuurlijk de cirkel in het midden. Dat gaat om natuurlijk de revenue omhoog, de kosten omlaag, minder verlies van klanten en snellere time to market. Waarbij die zaken natuurlijk ook vaak nog impact op elkaar hebben. Ik ben heel erg trots op hoe ons bedrijf Dialog Groep de laatste 2 jaar is gegroeid. In met name de kennis van integraties en documentautomatisering. En ik denk dat we hebben laten zien aan zeker onze bestaande klanten dat Pitney Bowes zeer grote en significante investeringen aan het doen is in de cloud om onze gereedschappen te geven om nog meer waarde te kunnen toevoegen. En dat er een mooie weg is voor bestaande Compose klanten om fasegewijs het digitale domein binnen te dringen. Dus in die zin, deze slide krijgen jullie ook. Wil ik niet dat allemaal gaan voorlezen, maar heel veel van de vragen die altijd zijn gesteld over herbereikbaarheid van assets, het kenbaar maken of het empoweren van de businessgebruikers, ja, dat is denk ik heel erg belangrijk. Volgende slide. Nou, deze hebben we ook al besproken vorige keer. Dus bedrijven, en dat sluit ik aan op mijn eerste slide. Als je echt investeert in klantervaringen, dan groeien is onderzocht door Aspire gewoon sneller dan als je dat niet doet. En dat was op dit moment wat we te vertellen hadden. Dus ik weet niet of er op dit moment nog vragen zijn.
Ik ga even voor jou kijken. Ik denk dat we het mooi binnen de tijd gered hebben. We hadden nog 20 minuten voorzien, een kwartiertje voor vraag en antwoord. Ik denk de meeste vragen zijn via de chat al beantwoord. Ik kijk even of er nieuwe zijn. En zover ik kan zien, zie ik geen nieuwe vragen, Patrick. Misschien nog wel goed om even te benoemen, Dialog Groep, Digital Interaction Made Easy. Wat jouw visie daarop is en hoe wij daar als bedrijf nu naar kijken. En wat de impact is daar op onze labels die we nu vandaag hebben.
Ja, heel veel bedrijven kennen ons vooral van het merkdocument Dialog. Vanzelfsprekend vinden we dat niet meer passen bij de huidige tijd. In een webinar, ook waar we het continu hebben gehad over digitale evolutie en transformatie. Dus wij hebben ook besloten om alle labels die we in de markt hadden, dat waren onder andere ook Engage Dialog en CCM Masters, allemaal te laten opgaan in Dialog Groep. Omdat we denken dat dat een betere manier is om eenduidig met meer schaal met de markt te kunnen communiceren. Dus toevallig vandaag zijn daar ook LinkedIn berichten over verstuurd. Voor onze klanten verandert er helemaal niets. Er veranderen geen Kamer van Koophandelnummers, geen btw-nummers, geen rekeningnummers. Dus voor onze klanten blijft, behalve dan die naamgeving, alles gewoon bij het oude en vertrouwde. En ik hoop nogmaals dat we voor onze klanten, maar ook voor de enkele externe geïnteresseerden, een goed beeld hebben kunnen geven in hoe we met elkaar, samen met onze partner Pitney Bowes, de toekomst tegemoet gaan.
Ja. Nou, ik denk dat we nu geen verdere vragen meer hebben, dat alles helder is. Ik switch nog even over naar het Engels. To thank our partner Pitney Bowes to attending, because we know we're in different time zones. It was a clear deep dive, I believe. So many thanks to bring this clarity. So thank you. En dan voor onze deelnemers uit België en Nederland, hartstikke bedankt dat jullie met toch grote aantallen aanwezig waren. We zullen de follow-up zeker verspreiden eerstdaags. En mochten er nog vragen zijn, jullie weten ons te vinden. En laat ons samen de weg bewandelen naar Digital Interaction Made Easy. Tot zover, tot ziens en we houden contact.